Yes, people, welcome to Never a Foul. It's Thursday. We're heading into Friday with positive movements, positive comments, unlike the boxing. Nigel Ben, Conor Ben, and Chris Eubank cancelled, man. I'm gutted. I'm a big boxing fan. I was looking forward to that this weekend, but now I just got to stick to football. We've got to stick to football tonight, Europa League, football yesterday, Champions League, and then the big Premier League games on the weekend, which we're going to have an Arsenal-Liverpool preview tomorrow, guys. So make sure you check after the stream. It will go straight into the preview for tomorrow. You can smash a like there, hit the notification bell and all of that, and you'll be there as well for a big panel. But most importantly, guys, if you're here right now, smash a like, get your comments in. I've got a great panel with me today, and we're going to get you ready for the weekend. Every time I play that intro, I can't lie, it just makes me want to hear like a full song. I love the garage vibes, man. It's a good tempo there, man. Big up Soups every single time with the intro. I'm going to get through a few of the comments and I'm going to bring the panel in straight away. You know what it is, guys. Big up Siddharth every single time. Big up the dog Grizz. Grizz will be here at 5 o'clock as well, people. Considering last 18 months, RJ has been the best right back. Big up Claudio. I hope you're all good, bro. You're going to like this as well. A bit of Chelsea talk. It's going to be peak when Bellingham goes to Man City next year. I won't be feeling sorry for the Liverpool fans. And of course, guys, make sure you like the video. Make sure you subscribe. Already over 20 of you here. So please make sure you do that. And most importantly as well, it's all about the guests. So I'm going to get straight to them. And also you can support their channels, man. That's what it's about. So Mo, I know you've just woke up. That is commitment. You woke up and your first thought was to message me saying about the stream today. That's crazy. Were you dreaming about me?
Man. I live dreaming about you. I'm dreaming about this amazing panel. Yeah, just we live football, bro. Just finished the practice yesterday evening, went to bed, woke up, and just talk football again. It is what it is.
I see something on your Instagram. Do you still play?
Oh yeah, I play about 4 or 5 times a week.
Do you know what? I give you that. I wish I could do the same. Was it like 5-a-side or 11-a-side?
No, I play 2 leagues 11-a-side and 2 leagues 5-a-sides, and I practice once a week.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, well, when you come over, then you're going to put us to shame with your fitness. No excuses now. You said it live on there now. No, I don't want to see you blowing after 20 minutes. Now, I love that, guys. Make sure you go and support Inter Worldwide as well, where Mo does a lot of Inter Milan content. He's very happy this week. Obviously, the win against Barcelona as well, which you kind of didn't expect, but sometimes that's what the best surprises in football are about. Down to Hugh, who obviously is part of the Big Six, got his own channel as well, guys. That is down in the description, so make sure you drop Hugh a subscription as well. Big Man City fan, obviously, as well as Daps here on Never a Foul. Hugh, I think the second or first stream we've been on together, man, but thank you for coming on, man. It's always great to share conversations with you, bro.
Yeah, of course, man. It's always a pleasure coming on to Never a Foul. And listen, especially when life is as good as it is now, you know, undefeated, can't complain. You know, the big man's firing up top. Even my boy Jack Grealish is coming good, so I couldn't be happier. I'm happy to come on any stream and talk about Man City and any day of the week these times. You know what I mean?
Yeah, enjoy it. Do you know what? Enjoy it, because I ain't going to get them times back for a long time. Baines is there, disgusted. Look, I like it. It looks like I've got a bit of a, even though I'm a Man United fan, a bit of a red versus blue at the bottom here. Baines, obviously, we do a lot of shows together. Make sure you subscribe to Statman Baines, guys, as well. It's in the description down below, blue link. And what are you saying, man? You all good?
I hate how Hugh can just smile just for fun. Look at me. I got Erling Haaland in my side. Look at me. Jack Grealish is performing. Man, must be nice, isn't it? Must be nice.
Do you remember it was the Sancho Grealish debates last year? Grealish is currently putting that one in the mud, isn't he?
I remember those debates. And I have my receipts. I've got all the evidence as well from those debates. They were good times.
Yeah, man, it's very interesting. Sancho does start for tonight for Man United people as well. You haven't seen the team news, so he needs to step up. But yeah, Baines, you all good, bro? Everything all right?
Yeah, I'm good. What are you saying?
Love that, man. Yeah, I'm good, man. Just looking forward to doing this stream. You know, nice afternoon one for the people as well. Already over 40 people here, guys. So make sure you are liking the video. Make sure you are subscribing as well. And like I said, after the stream, there is a preview for Arsenal-Liverpool tomorrow. So you can just go straight into that and like that as well. So, yeah, that's going to be a big one tomorrow. But yeah, guys, I thought, you know, while Grizz is going to be coming here at 5 o'clock, we'll save the Jude Bellingham talk for that, because I think it's going to be quite interesting. But I want to touch on Reece James. And it's so funny because I'm going to hold my hands up. Only a week ago, I did a stream saying Diego Dallo was the best right back in Europe so far. And I wasn't even trying to be biased in terms of Man United fans. I was saying that Hakimi's been steady this year. Cancelo's been playing at left back. Trent's not been firing on all cylinders in terms of like improvement and consistency. I was like, Dallo's got to be up there actually in terms of the Man United defense and how they've been playing in recent games. You then saw what Grealish did to him in the first 5 minutes, getting him booked, and it just wasn't the same Dallo. And that just shows that, like, I'm not saying I was reactionary, but you need to sample football over a longer period before I could even make comments about being the best in Europe at that moment. But we had a man for Chelsea yesterday, Reece James, scored the goal like he did against Juve last year, where he gets the ball on the right-hand side, rips it into the top of the corner. And I love Reece James. You know, we signed a new deal for Chelsea, which I think was a massive thing for them, especially with a new manager coming in and knowing that he's steady. He was pointing to the badge when he scored yesterday. But I just want to have a conversation about Reece James. Like, how good can he be? Is he the best right now overall as a defender, and what he adds to Chelsea? So Mo, I'll come to you first. We could just debate it anyway. Something might get said and anyone can jump in or whatever. But Mo, man, let's take over on Reece James and see what you've got to say about Chelsea's wide man.
Do you know how bad the world is right now that we don't have enough right backs in the world to talk about? Even like Cancelo is playing left back. Now he's going to shift to right back. But just to touch on this, it's only Reece James and Trent at the moment, and maybe Carvajal, who's just aging. But for me, Reece James is good. He is the best in the world just because of the lack of the right backs, the good ones in the world, to be honest. Just it's as simple as that. Yeah, he's good, great player, can whip in across, can shoot. But again, it's not. I don't see the Cafu. I don't see like the Maicon, the Dani Alves. You remember these people were like very, very dominant offensively and defensively. For me, Reece James at the moment, based on the performances, the numbers are not there, by the way. The numbers are not amazing. Last season he had.
But is it about the numbers? You said to me, I tested.
Exactly. It's not about the numbers. It's about how he plays, the positioning, where he is on the pitch. And I like how Reece James is playing, because when you play that good, and we watch this guy week in, week out, and he's putting these performances in a Chelsea team that is very, very unstable at the moment. Chelsea has been very unstable. This is why, for me, Reece James, at the moment, he's absolutely doing a great job. Yesterday, he was fantastic for them. He was a key to the win. And for me, at the moment, yes, you can say that he's been the best one at the moment. But still, Trent, for me, the numbers he's put in the last year, like 4 years, when you become the second player to create chances over 4 years after Kevin De Bruyne in the Premier League, it has to be out there. Every player has a deficiency, right? There is no player that is going to be the best in everything. But for me, Trent going forward is still the best in the world. I've not seen a fullback that good going forward. But in a back four, maybe he's not the best. But for me, Reece James is kind of like a balanced right back for me. And it's been great. It's been great.
Okay, it's interesting because you talk about deficiencies with Reece James, which I'm going to come to Hugh. Do you agree with that, with what Mo's saying? Because deficiencies means in terms of, obviously, like Trent, you could say defensively 1v1, a lot of people attack him down that side, he leaves open space. Do you see deficiencies in Reece James's game?
I see very few. I see very few deficiencies in Reece James's game. And what separates Reece James, I actually, you know what, I agree with Mo in the sense that I don't think he's up there with the all-time greats who could do it all, you know, Cafu and whatnot. I definitely agree with Mo, and he's also right in the sense that he's definitely the best, not by default, but by the fact that there's not many other complete right backs out there right now. I think Reece James is possibly the most complete. I mean, as much as we enjoy watching our right backs go forward and be involved in build-up play and be very creative, which is what Trent is exceptional at, the primary function of a right back is to be part of the defense and stop attacks. And while Trent is fantastic, like I said, going forward, and we saw with his free kick the other night, he's a massive outlet in that sense. He's being a bit exposed recently and found out for the fact that he's not amazing defensively. And I was a bit disappointed when Reece James signed a new contract with Chelsea, because I always touted him. I viewed him as the perfect Kyle Walker replacement and possibly even an upgrade, because Kyle Walker comes into that conversation I was talking about where he's not the most complete. Kyle Walker is the opposite to Trent in the sense that Kyle Walker is one of the best in the business defensively, but he's not actually exceptional going forward. Whereas if we brought Reece James into our team, I would have said Reece James offers that. You know, like you analyze Chelsea's period, particularly under Tuchel, where they weren't the most creative. I think we can all agree Chelsea's Tuchel were not a very creative team. They struggled to score a huge amount of goals. The fact that they relied on their right full back in Reece James to be one of their most creative players just highlights how good he is going forward. And we also know he's very good defensively as well. So I think he's just the most complete in the right back conversation. All the best right backs in the world. He's got the best balance. He struck the best balance of defense and attack.
Yeah, no, I actually echo that. I think when it comes to balance in terms of defensive ability, attacking ability as well, I do think James is the overall selection for that. And I also think that there was a couple of years back. I know everyone remembers that Alphonso Davies game, and I feel like that might have changed him as a person, because Reece James, if you remember, it was like 3 years ago, I think it was now. He was kind of on the come up, and he kind of burst onto that Chelsea scene after the loan at Wigan. And that was his first, you call it cooking. Like he just came up against Alphonso Davies at Stamford Bridge, and it kind of just changed the way everyone viewed Reece James. Is he going to be that top defender? Can he defend 1v1? And I actually think since then, he's actually improved quite a lot. You don't really see James get beat 1v1. He's pretty solid in the air. And sometimes it takes for a player, especially on the come up, a moment like that to make him realize, do you know what, maybe I need to step up this, or maybe I need to improve this part of my game. And what do you think on Reece James, Statman? Obviously, we talk about like Diogo Dalot, and when you were discussing it when we were talking about best right backs in Europe this year, but in terms of Reece James in general, do you put him kind of clear up there, or do you see Trent having a case like Mo said when it comes to the attacking side of it as well?
I don't think one's cleared up. I think they're all in the same conversation. I've always said, like, if someone puts Reece James ahead of Trent, I wouldn't argue. Someone puts Reece James Trent ahead of Reece James, I'm not complaining. I think those two have set the level. I think, like you kind of said it, what Trent's done over the last 3 years has been ridiculous. Like, I know people want to talk about his defensive game and stuff, but let's be honest, Reece James also plays in the back five as well. It helps. He has extra protection. So
let me ask you, Statman, this. Doesn't it depend on the system you play? Like Kyle Walker is great because he's not being asked to go forward as much. While Trent, for example, Trent for Liverpool has been fantastic, but Southgate for England doesn't want a right back that doesn't defend. So doesn't it depend on how you play? Like remember Dani Alves and Maicon in Brazil, they would choose Maicon, but then Dani Alves looked better with numbers. Don't you think it all depends on systems? What do you want from a defender? Like Dalot for you looked fantastic when you wanted him to defend. He looked great tackler and all of this. So don't you think it all depends on systems as well?
Facts. I think I said it to Ty. I don't think comparing positions these days is very, very hard because, for example, let's just take a Liverpool left back in terms of Robertson and compare it to an Arsenal left back in Zinchenko. They do completely different things, even though they play the exact same position. I think it's all about what the manager really wants you to do. But I don't know, man. Like, I can't choose between Reece James and Trent, I'll be honest.
That's interesting because I'm not saying I'll be biased, but if it was me and you guys go, right, you could pick your team right now and out of a hat, I've got an option of Trent and James. I'll be picking Reece James just because I feel like even though Trent can offer a lot going forward, which you haven't seen this season, but obviously previous years we have, I just feel like I'd want the more complete defender in my team rather than one that specializes in attacking. But then again, my question, I was going to say, so yeah, my question would be, if you look at it, and this could be for anyone, do you think with Mo Salah, for example, playing with Trent, or then on the right-hand side, I think with Reece James, you might have Raheem Sterling drifting into them pockets. Do you also think for a right-back, it depends on who the person in front of them is? Because look, we're just going to throw it out there. Look at the Manchester derby on the weekend. Everyone saw it. Dalot was booked in the first few minutes, but Anthony wasn't really tracking back and helping out Dalot. Then on the other side, you've got Malacia, and Jadon Sancho wasn't really helping out Malacia. But with Chelsea, I don't really see them getting isolated in them sort of situations. Liverpool, you do sometimes with Trent and Mo Salah not being there. So do you think for the right back guys, it depends on who's also supporting them in front, or do you think that doesn't have a bearing?
It has a massive bearing. It has a massive bearing because even just looking at my own team, I'm always conscious of what combination Pep goes with on the right and left hand side, and we seem to identify which combinations we like the most. And I found with, say, Cancelo and Grealish, it works really well because Cancelo is an extremely offensive left back who likes to get forward and often be too far forward and leave space in behind him. But when you have Grealish in front of him, Grealish has a fantastic defensive attributes. He's really great at getting back. So with the Trent thing, I get people are having the conversation about his defensive abilities at the minute, but there is a part of me feels he's being slightly exposed by Mohamed Salah. I don't think Salah gets back in the way that Trent would maybe like and give him that extra bit of cover. So having a winger in front of you who is capable of getting back and doing the dirty work that maybe not all wingers want to do, I think has a massive bearing on how the fullback will perform.
Yeah, well, what do you think on that? With my question as well, like what you said,
simple.
Salah, Trent.
It is simple for me. Trent, number one, we have not seen the offensive output this year for one reason, because Mo Salah is hugging the line, and there is no space for Trent. That's number one. Number two is the defensive midfielders are not helping him. Like all these last 3-4 years, it has been one of the defensive midfielders fit enough to track back and help him. That's not happening, and that's not only on Trent, it's on Klopp as well, because he wants to play the same exact system with an aging squad, so it's not working. He has to recognize that he needs new blood, new ideas to cope with the Henderson, the Fabinhos, even Matip, and all the injuries that he has, and Van Dijk not playing the same. So for me, I still think that Trent maybe in a different team. Like imagine if Trent is a right back and you have a left back like Kyle Walker, like can defend. Trent would be fantastic. He would be like as good as Cancelo, in my opinion, going like in these days, because Kyle Walker covers a lot for Cancelo because he switched to 3 in the back defensively. So for me, it's all about systems. It's not about the winger, by the way, because a lot of teams play with wingers now, big teams, when they don't track back as much. But the problem is, it's the coach who's going to cover Trent, because we know that he's getting exposed because they play 4 in the back and the midfielders are not covering for him. So he's caught between two minds.
Even in the prime, when you think of Liverpool when they were challenging for the Champions Leagues, the Premier Leagues, I don't rate Jordan Henderson, to be fair, but someone said it to me years ago and it really stuck out to me. When it comes to someone like Jordan Henderson, whether you rate him or not, if you simplify his role, he's effective. And you always used to remember when Trent was going forward, I think they'd done a Monday night analysis years ago when they were playing Palace away, and Trent was bombing forward. Henderson would then go and fill in as like a right back, you could say. Now, Fabinho doesn't really do that. He wants to stay in the middle of the park. And Milner, we know he hasn't got the legs to do that. And I do feel like since Henderson's legs have been going, he's getting muscular injuries. They haven't really got someone who's got that natural knack to say, right, I'm going to allow the team to benefit by Trent going forward. But then Henderson's not able to get in there no more. And I don't think they have a player like that who can do that right now. And that's why we're seeing Trent in a lot of isolated 1v1 situations. I'm just going to get through a few of the comments.
But just quickly,
yeah, go on, mate.
Would you call Trent generational? Because I think
that's
what Gary Neville said the other day.
Have you ever seen, absolutely, Statman, have you ever seen a right back like to go forward like this? In Klopp's system in the last 4 years, he changed the way fullbacks go forward. The numbers speak for themselves, right? The number of assists, the number of chances created. When I mean generational, like, I have never seen a right back in my life going forward can do this. Never, ever.
Would you call Reece James generational? Reece James?
No, I wouldn't call
the
either
idea right back.
Yeah, I wouldn't call either of them either. I think it's quite hard to pinpoint someone to say is generational. I know Trent's attacking qualities are like formidable over like a lot of right backs we've seen in the past. But then again, like if you said to me, Dani Alves now in his prime coming into this era now, would he be maybe similar as what Trent would be of today, even though take away the free kick side of things? So I don't know. I think generation was like a very big word to throw
Dani
out
Alves played with Messi, played with prime. I'm sorry, guys. Dani Alves played with Xavi, Messi, Iniesta. This guy played with Fabinho, Henderson, and Milner.
So he did it. Yeah, exactly. So Dani
Alves was great.
Do that, though. Exactly. Dani
Alves is great, but that team, everybody looked fantastic. I'm not saying anything about Dani Alves. He was absolutely phenomenal. But Trent, being 23, so from 19 to 23, to do all of these numbers, to put all of these assists in, and to play as good as he did, I would call him. I've never seen someone that young can do all of these stuff in just the first 4 years of his career, which is, it is something. I just tell me, have you ever seen a kid that can come in? Maybe Reece James in the next year or two, but it's lucky for Trent that he played for Liverpool when they were like challenging for all these titles. Reece James played for Chelsea. They won the Champions League, but they haven't won the title yet in England. And they are far from winning the title in England, I think, at the moment. So for me, it's why Trent, he probably one of the reasons why Liverpool was going to 4 titles last year and won the and went to 3 Champions League finals in the last 4 years. It's astonishing achievement.
Okay, fair. Hugh, what do you think? Because I know you were going to come in and say something about generational, and I think you were going to say both or not.
I don't think either of them are. I think the word generational is possibly thrown around a bit prematurely nowadays, because when we see a big talent come along, we like to gas them up and say they're generational. But I think the term generational should really mean like you've changed the outlook on how that position is played. And I don't think Trent has done that. And I think there's plenty of other really good attacking fullbacks. I mean, I think Cancelo is equally as good technically as Trent. The only difference is Klopp has built Klopp's great team over the past 5-6 years. He built one of their main attacking outlets was Trent, whereas at City, Cancelo he's one of many great attacking outlets. So that's why Trent gets highlighted more for his attacking abilities. But I think the term generational is, like I said, it's thrown around a bit too easy nowadays. I don't think either of them are that. I don't think there is a generational fullback out there right now. And there's very few generational players out there right now.
Okay, fair. That's a very good question, Baines. You seem to open up a lot of the comments as well.
You answer it.
Say again?
You answer it.
I think it's too early to say generational right now. I think he's a very good player. And I think he's unique. You can't really say very unique. You're either unique or you're not. I think he's unique. But I don't want to say generational yet. He's 23, like most.
But you know, when you think about
maybe
it,
ask me at 26.
If he retires right now, he's in the conversation for the best right backs in the Premier League era.
Brilliant take. Brilliant take.
Man, look at you today.
No,
but you got
like,
a good question. No, I'm saying you're asking. You can put a good.
No, but when you think about it like that, you can't really say anything.
I'm trying to think of the other right backs people who look in their teams now and they say like Lauren, they
lie, Statman, right? Numbers
Neville, Ivanovic.
Say if we're doing like a Premier League all-time draft and there's 4 people, one person definitely choosing Trent.
I'm going with prime Kyle Walker, and that's probably me being slightly biased.
Kyle Walker would be in there. Zabaleta might be in there as well.
Yeah, but I mean, like, he's in that discussion.
No, absolutely, he's in that discussion. He's I just don't think he's a complete enough.
Because of trophies or because of performances?
Because of performances, absolutely because of performances. I mean, when Pep came in, immediately he identified the fact that our fullbacks were aging and weren't going to be able to play the style of football that Pep wanted. And that's probably why we didn't perform at the level we did, or he wanted to in our very first season. Then he comes in and brings Kyle Walker, one of the fastest fullbacks, one of the fastest players we've possibly ever seen, who's able to bomb up and down that wing when he was fit and he was young, which he can't do now, which is why I'd probably give it to him, because he was more of an attacking threat back in the day, or at least he could contribute a bit more. And he was also one of the most solid defensive fullbacks the Premier League's ever seen. And just the way I like footballers to be, I like my fullbacks to be predominantly defensively sound if possible. And then if they are great going forward as well, that's just a fantastic bonus. And it's just the fact of the matter is for Trent is he's exceptional going forward. But if we're putting our hands on our hearts, he's not what you would like him to be defensively.
I got a question bouncing off you then, because this is good. With Kyle Walker, right, for example, he's won multiple Premier Leagues. He was good at Spurs. He's been very good at City. And everyone put him in his unique category in terms of his pace and his recovery pace and stuff like that. I'm going to get through a few of the comments in a minute, but it's just because this is right in the moment right now. I've got to carry on. Do you think because there's been so much attacking impetus on players like Reece James, you look at like Hakimi's, Cancelo's, the Trents, and everyone's starred by these numbers and what they bring as wing-backs. Do you think someone like Kyle Walker, who still does play today, is kind of, I don't want to say underrated, but he's undervalued because he doesn't bring them numbers that the wing-backs do as attackers?
Definitely underappreciated. I mean, you have to give it to players like Trent. They have made us as fans now expect fantastic attacking performances from our fullbacks. So when players like Kyle Walker, who are more focused on their defensive attributes and their defensive game, come along, you don't look at them in the same romantic way you would look at a fullback like Trent, who can stick a free kick top bins or put crazy De Bruyne-esque assists into the box to a striker or an oncoming attacker. So definitely the more defensive fullbacks who you have to appreciate, because they're the rocks at the back. They solidify your defense essentially, and they nullify the wingers, if you like. You have to appreciate them as well, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Anyone else want to chip in on that question there? So I'm throwing
Man
I'm doing
City,
a
Man City fans, of course. Man City fans, of course, going for the defensive right back. But if you ask about a left back, they'll tell you we want the most offensive left back in the world. It's because they have the best defensive right back in the world. This is as simple as that. In the last 4 or 5 years, I agree with you, Hugh. Like, I've never seen a fullback that will recover like this, will cover the defense like this, can play as a center back. It's great, I know. But I have seen a lot of people I've seen a lot of defenders that can defend in my lifetime, right backs. But have I seen a right fullback that has that much output going forward? I haven't. And that's my answer. I haven't. I've never seen that before. These numbers are crazy, and every time the guy used to go forward, creates something. So for me, this is why he changed the way it goes. Is it the right way? That's the question to be asked, right? Because now he's exposed. Is this the right way to play football? That's a different question. But for him as an individual going forward, I've never seen a right back to do this. But is it on the coach? Is it on him that he's exposed defensively? I think we'll know, right? If it keeps happening like this and they keep getting exposed, because every team now goes and attacks that side. Now we're gonna know, can they fix it? Imagine if they fixed it. Imagine if the next 10 months or something, they get a different player in the midfield that can cover this area. Now we're going back to, oh my God, this guy is absolutely a monster going forward and he doesn't need to defend.
I think Sorry, well, I was just going to say, for an attacking fullback like Trent to flourish consistently, a lot of things need to align from. We spoke about how he would need the likes of Fabinho to be able to come across and cover that space when he goes forward. I touched on briefly how you need a winger in front of you to be able to track back if necessary. And we're only seeing Trent being, I don't know about found out, but his flaws in his defensive game is becoming more evident because of the system, I suppose, and the players he has around him. Like we said, the aging midfield, and I spoke about briefly, I think Salah possibly doesn't track back enough, and that's what's letting him down. On the City thing, you spoke about Cancelo and Walker on each side. The fact that Walker is so good defensively, it allows Cancelo to bomb forward because they can move into that back three. So for a fullback to be really attacking and just solely show their attacking game and make that look great and romantic and whatnot, a lot of things need to align. The fullback on the other side needs to be good defensively. The midfielders need to understand the game and the system, and the winger also needs to understand it. And it did work for Liverpool for a long time when they had that electric midfield. When Van Dijk and Matip and Robertson were all playing the best period of their lives, Trent was able to look great when he was doing his attacking things. But now that things are going a little bit stale and it's not, the ship isn't running the way it used to, it's looking a bit more peak for Trent.
And that for me, I'm gonna let Baines have his say on this. I'm definitely gonna get through the comments in a second, guys. That is the thing about Trent right now. We're seeing a different test of him because at the end of the day, when you look at it and think he's 23 years of age, everything that he's achieved right now has been, like Hugh said, when Liverpool, the time of him coming in was when Liverpool was on the trajectory on the way up. Now, Liverpool have hit kind of that plateau where Klopp's now got to do something he's not used to doing, which is a bit of a rebuild. Now, when you look at Liverpool and the position they're in, this is where you want your most key players to step up. Now, Trent is one of them three. Him, Salah, I'd probably say Van Dijk as well, are them players that you want to see sort of grab the balls by the neck and say, right, I'm going to make a difference in these games. Trent hasn't fully been able to do that yet, especially with even a free kick the other night, but he hasn't been able to. Baines, what do you think on what we're just talking about there? And then I'll definitely get through the comments.
I was going to say something here. You know how like people say like the system helps Trent? Is that not a sign of like an elite level player though, that you're building a system for a right back or catering a system for a right back?
It's like Neeks here. Trent's only a right back in Klopp's system.
I don't know, man. What team does Trent not start for?
Mine.
Okay, let me reword that. How many? I can count on one hand how many teams he doesn't start for.
No, you're right. It's because he's so good offensively that it is hard to refuse him. I mean, if you're offered Trent, you're kind of going, what he offers you going forward. You know, you don't really want to turn it down, but. Yeah, like I said, a lot of things need to align. For Trent to not be caught out defensively, a lot of things need to go his way. He needs the right personnel around him, the right age groups around him, and the team needs to be playing with confidence. When Liverpool were playing with confidence, Trent was absolutely firing. Salah's not playing with confidence. Van Dijk's not playing with confidence. The team looks a little bit stale, a little bit flat, so things look a bit worse for him.
You know another thing I would say as well, like we need to remember, Trent is 23. He hasn't really had like a horrible patch in his career. And when you forget that, having a bad patch in your career is normal. Like other than Messi and Ronaldo, like it happens with players, really, kind of thing, and we just have to accept that. Trent's going through a sticky patch right now, but
Messi needed everybody around him to be like as at the end of his career. Messi needed a team around him. That doesn't mean Messi is the team you build around Messi, and I echo you, Statman. If the team is built around the right back, that means they see something that is absolutely phenomenal, that they need everybody to be on the same page with this guy. And
very interesting. Let me get through. Oh, go on, babe. Go on.
Like someone said, will he improve defensively? I actually think Trent's improved defensively. You know? Since around the April 2021 period or 2020 period, I actually think he's improved a lot. Like, you know, after around that Vinicius period, I think it was Vinicius or Asensio, around the April time, I think Southampton game happened when Trent was at fault for one of the goals. Since that period, and since actually to be fair, since a lot of Liverpool's players have come back, he's been much better defensively.
Apart from the Napoli
average, but that is a compliment. So, but
who did that? Who did that?
Definitely not me.
You're an idiot.
That even caught me by surprise.
I know who did this. We know who did this.
But he has massively improved, kind of thing, innit?
But I think the big thing with Trent is his age. I still don't put him up there. I don't right now put him up there with one of the greatest right backs of all time. I put him up there as an exceptional footballer. The guy has got bag loads of talent. He's an unbelievable footballer. But I listened to the Gary Neville podcast on Sky Sports the other day when they were talking after the City United game, and Neville spoke about the fact that he doesn't feel he became a complete fullback until he was 26, 27, and he did kind of a reverse of what you kind of want Trent Alexander to do, whereas Neville grew up focusing solely on his defensive side of the game and making sure he was a solid right back, but felt he was lacking a bit in the attacking area of the pitch. So he worked on that from the ages of kind of 24, 25, 26. And by the time he was 27, 28, he felt he had kind of become more of a balanced and complete fullback. So if Trent can do that and maintain his high standards going forward, but also work on his defensive side of the game, there's no reason why he can't go on to be genuinely probably the greatest fullback in Premier League. But that's a big thing for him to work on.
I'm going to get through a few of the comments, guys, because I have to do this. There's nearly 100 people watching right now in the comments since we started this Reece James Trent thing, and talking about it. It's just booted off. I can't even keep up right now. I saw your comments in about Dani Alves. I think I was just going to quickly answer that by saying he never had to defend because Barcelona was so good on the ball. He had to defend 2 minutes a game probably. So look at Statman, big up a Liverpool player. He has in disguise. 100% Trent is solid going forward, but poor at defending. Very clear to see, but will he improve, which is what you guys saw in the comments. Hakimi is better overall, which is an interesting shout. Hit the like button, people, and make sure, most importantly, guys, you are subscribing to Mo, you're subscribing to Hugh as well, and Statman. All their channels are down below in the description. Obviously, like this video, most importantly, and then straight away subscribe to them while you can stay on this video. We're great pandas here, just giving you guys content on a Thursday, and these guys are just as important as we are here hosting it, man. So thank you very much. Big up Zahabe as well. Trent should play right midfield. Well, do you know what? It's the perfect time to throw in our guest today, because I didn't know that. I kind of said to you guys, like, we're going to save this Bellingham talk for Grizz to come on, but Grizz is actually coming and we're still talking about Trent because it's just gone into different areas. Grizz, I don't know if you want to talk about Trent. You're probably tired of it, if I'm totally honest.
Bro, but, you took the words right out of my mouth. I was thinking, as soon as I yo, big up all my brothers out there. Big up everyone, man. Big up Huey, Mo, and Statman. Big up yourselves, of course, every time. But you know what? As I was in the studio, right, and I was thinking, is this the Trent chat again, man?
Don't worry, it's not, man.
It's Trent. But can I say something though? Statman nailed it for me. So whatever Statman said, ×2, and then we can keep it moving. Because you pretty much nailed it, man. No one will tell you Trent is brilliant at defending. No one. Not even the most deluded Liverpool fan will tell you that. But a lot of fans around the world will tell you he's elite at going forward. So there has to be a medium in between. And I'll say again, he's 23. He's going to learn how to defend. If he doesn't, then he won't be regarded as one of the best fullbacks the Premier League's ever seen. Simple. And Liverpool fans will have to live with that. Well, it's no biggie. You know what I mean? Like Gary Neville says, like Huey, I think, said, Gary Neville says, if he improves his defending, he will go down as the greatest fullback, not the Premier League, but probably in the world. But if he improves his defending to a level that's remotely close to his attacking ability. But how many players do we know that have got that level of attacking ability and that level of attacking?
Okay, Grizz, this is the perfect time I can ask you this one question then, and then we'll move on to the Bellingham talk.
Oh, go on,
That's
man.
why.
That's me. I'll go on then.
Big up Cass. It's Cass in the background with the clips. I just scrolled down. I was like, who's doing this? And I've just scrolled down and seen Cass there in the background saying, ignore me, but he's running up the clips. Big up Cass every time. But yeah, guys, make sure you subscribe to Grizz as well. It's in the title, in the description, and the rest of the panel as well. But Grizz, one question I do want to ask you, which these guys were just talking about, is Trent Alexander-Arnold generational? Now, that's a good question because I haven't seen you. I'll probably answer that.
Generational what?
No,
I want to know. But I want to know more context. Like his stats are fucking more than generational. So what does that mean?
I think it can't be stats. I think it has to be just a player overall.
But he changed the right back game though, so you have to say he's generational.
Look, like Gary Neville said, and he laughed. And he's a Man United hardcore who ain't got time for Liverpool. He hasn't got time for Liverpool. We know that. And he was laughing at this, like the numbers this guy's pulling up at 23. Like, name me a right back that does what Trent does at any period of any other baller's career. Dani Alves, Cafu, Zanetti. Talk about all these big players of the past. Gary Neville himself, Dennis Irwin. I don't know. Name other right backs. Zanetti I've mentioned. What's that guy, man, from Man City, man? The Argentinian, Zabaleta. Look at all the great right backs of recent times. I don't know. Who else has got numbers like this kid?
Nobody ever.
And hold on. And Mo, not only that, okay, people are gonna say the numbers, but he's in a team that's competing for the big titles season in, season out. So if he's so rubbish at defending, either he wouldn't be in the team, or he'd be playing in a different position, or we wouldn't be competing. They can't all make sense, man. There's got to be a contradiction somewhere. He's not an elite defender. He has got deficiencies in his game defensively. Gary Neville pointed them out, but I keep harping on about it. He's only been playing this role for 5 years, people. 5 years.
And defenders don't normally peak until the 27, 28.
Right. No, but it's not even that. It's not even that. When we set off to play football, we have a position that we play from school. Let's say we start playing football at 11, 12 years old. We all pick a position, right? So I want to be a striker, or I want to be a midfielder. He wanted to be Steven Gerrard. He was a box-to-box attacking player. Naturally, instinctively, his boyhood hero was all about assists, shots, box-to-box. He's been converted to a right back, not a wing back with 3 centre-backs, 2 DMs, but a right back with 2 centre-backs and 1 DM.
So he's still learning. In a sense, he's still learning his craft.
He's learning and winning at the same time. He's learning, winning, and smashing the stats at the same time. This guy, if he continues to improve, the sky's the limit for this guy. If he improves that defensive side to him. And many people can have doubts, no problem. I'm not a fortune teller. I'm not telling you that 100% he's going to be a brilliant defensive fullback as well in 4 years' time. But people tell you that, or people much more learned and knowledgeable than me tell you defenders, fullbacks don't peak until 27, 28, 29.
Yeah, no, it's going to be very interesting to see. And I think it's such a good thing for us as football content creators and people that are football fans themselves, because you got Trent, who's 23, you got Reece James, who's similar ages, and we're going to see them sort of progress together. And also, I know as much as we pitch it rivalries, James or Trent and stuff like that, it's actually a blessing to see that, you know, these guys are playing at top teams in the Premier League and we can watch them week in, week out. I'm going to go into Bellingham, but Mo, I wanted to get this question for you. Big up D1 Millie, because he's asked it a few times. So he just says, what's your thoughts on Di Lorenzo, obviously playing for Napoli at the moment, scored at Ajax the other night?
Yeah, the guy has been, he took the captain armband just in short, and he has been absolutely leading the team. And you can't just talk about a right back in Italy that starts for the national team, captains Napoli, top of the league at the moment, and top of their Champions League group with Liverpool in it. So to be honest, he has been putting a very, very solid performances, and he's been steady. He is not a difference maker on the team. He's just the ideal right back you want. Defensively, he's great. He's like Reece James, you know, but he's really good in corners. He puts in crosses, he assists, and he is involved in the game. But is he great going forward? No, he's just good. Is he great defensive? No, he's just good. So for me, the thing about Di Lorenzo is that he's top of the group in Champions League with Liverpool in there and Ajax, and they have been smashing teams left and right. And we talked about this with Grizz yesterday, and top of the league in Italy. So it is absolutely like just great for right backs in Italy to look like this again, because we missed this in Italy.
Yeah, 100%. Do you know what it is? Sometimes with teams as well that are top of leagues or winning trophies, not every player has to be amazing. Sometimes you need someone that you know is just going to give you 7 out of 10 every week. I always say about Van der Sar, growing up as a Man United fan, Van der Sar was a good keeper, but he wasn't the best in the world. No one ever said that. But every week you just knew you're going to get a 7, 8 out of 10, and that gives confidence to the rest of the team. When we get Big Steve back on, just wait on that one. I know Daps is probably going to work on something for a big game, maybe coming up soon. So just stick with us on that. Question for Ty quickly: what do you think the final score will be today between Man U and Man United? I'm just going to say a solid 2-0. 2 or 3-0. The team we've put out is strong enough to definitely win that game. But I want to talk about Jude Bellingham, because this one is going to be very interesting, especially when a lot of teams are looking at him at the moment. Big up everyone for their comments. Like I said, make sure you like the video, subscribe as well to the channel. Nick says to Grizz, when everyone was saying this years ago, we were called haters. Glad to see Liverpool fans are catching up. Trent, great power comes at a great cost. If Reece James and Cancelo had the green light to cross the ball 25 times a game, their assist numbers would be crazy. Cancelo is atrocious defensively, but no one talks about that. If you've just missed the right back talk, guys, make sure you go back and watch the show 100%. And like Cass says, make sure you like the video, 72 and counting. And then, we move into Bellingham, because one thing that stood out for me last night, guys, is that I didn't realize that his age, captain in Dortmund last night, I think after Haaland, he's become the second youngest player to score in like 3 game weeks in a row or something like that in the Champions League. But he just seems to be a player that is playing like he's 27 and he's won a couple of Champions Leagues or he's won a couple of leagues. He just seems to be taking every game in his stride, playing with maturity. Yes, there are deficiencies in his game. I do think he plays a bit on a loose first touch. He's quite raw in that side of things, but that's going to improve. That's going to come in time. But to see him captain a Dortmund side, to see him scoring, to see him, being a leader on the pitch at his age, I think the world sort of is his oyster, as long as he stays committed and he can work on stuff that he needs to improve on. But Hugh, I'll come to you. Are you surprised, first of all, just to see the impact Jude Bellingham sort of having as a main starter for Dortmund and now having sort of in European big games as well for Dortmund in the Champions League? Or is this something you thought, do you know what? He's ready-made for this. This is what I expected him to be doing.
No, I'd never put that expectation on any player of his age, but am I surprised that he's doing it? Absolutely not. I mean, I've been watching him since he's about 17. I think the first time we played against them in the Champions League, Jude Bellingham was 17, and he was by far the best player they had on the pitch. Across the 3 games we've played against them in the last year or 2-3 years, whatever it was, he's been the best player for them. I think the thing with Bellingham is he plays with extreme maturity. He's an extremely mature guy. You ever hear him speak in interviews and the things he says and the way he analyzes the game and the kind of personality he's a really mature guy. And the fact that they've given him the armband, I think while their usual captain is injured or whatever, it just shows, it's just a testament. It's just a testament to his personality. And does that mean he's ready to play in the Premier League? Listen, I'm on my knees. I'm on my knees to get Jude Bellingham to Manchester City, because with the expectation that one of, or at least one of, if not both of Bernardo Silva and Gundogan are going to leave next summer, and we're kind of in the process. We started the process the summer just gone of refreshing our team a bit and bringing in younger faces. Jude Bellingham is nothing short of a perfect replacement for at least one of those guys. A box-to-box, tenacious midfielder with bundles of energy, can score goals, and he's still so young and raw. Like you said, there's bags of potential there to be fulfilled. And if I just feel if Pep Guardiola could get his hands on that potential and put him in beside the likes of De Bruyne, in front of Rodri, link up with Haaland again, we know there's chemistry there. Listen, when I say I'm on my knees, I genuinely mean I want that guy at my club next summer, but it won't be easy. I know Grizz has some information on Bellingham and Liverpool. Maybe he'll speak on that. But listen, yeah, as far as Bellingham's concerned, I think he's maybe slightly overrated in a way. The way we're talking about him, like he's world class. I think he's definitely an exceptional young talent, like I said, with bags of potential. But I don't like when the world's fan bases and football media puts the label of world class on such a young player. Let him grow, let him develop, and we'll see where it goes.
That is perfect. I'm so glad. I was going to come into Grizz and then I'm going to open up to sort of me, Mo, and Statman. But that term you just said there, and people might say, "Oh my God, how you saying he's overrated?" I actually agree with you in terms of overrated. It's not, and this is nothing on Bellingham. I just believe that Bellingham is a player still finding himself, still maturing into the game. But because maybe you got Camavingas and you got other midfielders out there, but I actually feel like right now, when you've got Bellingham and you look at other young midfielders, maybe Musiala and players like that in there, who are they really competing with? And I know Haaland's been a freak of nature, by the way, Hugh, but I'm going to use this example. I was talking about Haaland in the summer and how he would settle into City, whether it would work or would it not. Haaland is a formidable striker. He's a great finisher. But I was sitting there thinking, other than Mbappe and Dusan Vlahovic, he's not really worked at Juve. The people you're comparing Haaland against is not great, because you've got the Benzema, Suarez and Lewandowski's and Aguero's are all like obviously finishing football now. Haaland's kind of that new breed. And I just feel like now with midfielders, there's not many standout midfielders like Bellingham, potentially Musiala in there. So I feel like the competition is not as high, which means you can rate them more. Now, Grizz, you've been a perfect advocate in terms of, you want Bellingham at the club. You know that Liverpool need a midfielder. Me and you have spoken it enough times now. I want to just hear what your thoughts are on Bellingham in terms of the player himself, and touch on what me and Hugh just said there in terms of the overrated comment, because we're not saying he's a poor player, but do you think there's a lot of ammunition coming with Bellingham at the moment, and people do need to sort of rein it in a little bit. Great comment.
Yeah. Look, if you look at the caliber of clubs that want Bellingham, it just tells you everything, right? At 19, the biggest clubs in the world want him, right? Real Madrid, Liverpool, Chelsea as well. Sorry,
Yeah,
Real Madrid, Man City, Chelsea, Liverpool,
and United.
United, but arguably in Real Madrid, Liverpool, and Man City. Okay, this season's a bit of a shit one so far for Liverpool, but arguably three of the top teams in world football right now want Jude Bellingham. And that's a fact. They all want Jude Bellingham. The reason why they want Jude Bellingham is because of this. Jurgen Klopp described a player like him like the golden cow, like the perfect prototype young central midfielder. In terms of last season, he played as an 8, emerged as an 8, can do all of the duties an 8 can do. This season, he's been used as a double pivot. He's outstanding in that as well. You can pretty much play him in any role in midfield. And at the amazingly young age of 19, we spoke about Trent being 23. My God, this kid's 19, and he's captaining a team of the caliber of Borussia Dortmund in the Champions League.
Yeah.
Look, I get why, and I don't think Hugh meant overrated. I think what Hugh meant was more of the pressure. Let him develop. Why are you calling him these time controllers? I think that's what he meant. I don't want to speak for Hugh.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's what I mean as well. I think Hugh meant
there's too much hype on him. There's too much hype, and the world's putting too much pressure on his shoulders. Whereas we should just let a young, developing talent develop rather than putting labels on him.
But the thing is, every country does that for their players. So the Spanish will say that for Pedri, and Gavi.
Yeah.
The Brazilians will say that for, Neymar when he was coming through or whatever. The Argentinians will do it for them. Everyone does it for their own, national hero or star, so to speak. So the English media will hype up the kid, just like Foden, just like Bellingham. They will. It's natural. It's par for the course in this age of social media and everything. But I wouldn't say he's overrated. I think he's worth all of that hype. But
is that Grizz? Is that because there's not many other midfielders of his age like him in terms of profile? Like you said, plays in a pivot, can play as a forward 8.
But that's what makes him, though. That's what makes him not overrated, because that's why he's different from everyone else, because he's good at everything that you've said, and he's better than everyone else that you said. Like I call Foden the only one comparable to him in terms of not stylistically, but in terms of world class, right? They're the two standouts that are comparable to, let's say, Gavi and Pedri at Barcelona, or Tchouaméni and Camavinga at Real Madrid. Yeah, so Foden and Bellingham, in my humble opinion, get into that category of let's talk. Not many other kids can talk on that table. Like, I don't, everyone's subjective opinion, everyone has their own version, but Camavinga, Tchouaméni, Musiala, Foden, Bellingham, there's about 7-8 players that you can't say they're overrated. You can distinguish between them who's your favorite and who you think is better. But if Mo said Musiala, I wouldn't say
Baines is smiling. Baines loves Musiala.
But do you get the point I'm making? Like, if Yui says Foden, I wouldn't say nah. We could all pick one of those players and roll with it.
Team. Yeah, no, that's fair. Well, I'll come to you,
The thing about it is that actually Foden and Tchouaméni are not in the same generation as Musiala and Bellingham, Pedri, Gavi. Camavinga, Pedri, Gavi, and Bellingham are just 19 years old. Foden is 22. Tchouaméni is 22. These people already played at the high level. Like, Tchouaméni is coming from the French league, and he already played at a high level. Still, Pedri and Gavi and Musiala and Bellingham, these people, even Foden, has been on the picture for like 3-4 years now. But these 19 years old to play at that high level, Champions League, start for Borussia Dortmund, Real Madrid, and Barcelona, is just something that I haven't seen before in my lifetime. 4 young players like these people starting for these big teams every week, and one of them captains the team. It is something I've never seen before. A 19 years old captain Borussia Dortmund like this, even a foreigner. For me, I watched Bellingham, and I didn't see I couldn't see in the beginning what the hype is about, but now, as Grizz said, when he dropped a little bit, play double pivot, he controls games. Yesterday, he literally controlled the game,
which I think is key.
Yes,
he's a good ball carrier.
And the physicality. Also, we shouldn't forget that this guy is very, very, very physical. He's big, he is strong, and he can put in tackles. So for me, he is the hot one next summer because he's going to be on the transfer list. Pedri and Gavi, we know they're not going to leave. Camavinga's not going to leave. So it's this player only as a teenager. Where is he going to go? And I don't know. I think it's between City at the moment and Real Madrid. I don't think he's going to choose Liverpool.
Okay. Let me get through a few of the comments and let Statman get his bits in. There's a super chat as well. Thank you ever so much for the super chat. Sideline says, Haaland will be the best striker ever to play, in my opinion. I'm not going to lie to you. The rate he's scoring at the moment, at his age, if he continues for another 10 years even, he's going to hit some mad numbers. And I'm kind of like sitting here as a football fan, excited to see what numbers he's on at the age of 33 or 32, whatever it is. So, thank you very much for the super chat. I say Snapchat there. Thank you very much for the super chat. Make sure you are liking the video, guys. Over 115 of you here. Great show so far. Make sure you are getting your comments in, subscribing to the panel below, all in the description as well. So please make sure you do that. And the fact Bellingham is probably the most talked about player of his generation tells you everything. The more highly rated a player is, the more likely they are to be overrated. Interesting. Jude is going to be at City for the long term. Someone says Haaland over Mbappe. But yeah, keep getting your comments in, guys. Babe, where are you sitting on this Bellingham talk? And then I've got a question that I'm going to kind of like, we'll end towards wrapping it up, but it's something I do want to discuss with each of you guys. So yeah, where are you sitting on this Bellingham and how he is as a player and his potential?
His potential.
By the way, can I put in brackets? You can touch on Musiala if you want.
Nah, I wouldn't. But his potential is ridiculous. I don't know if you guys saw BT Sports' segment on Bellingham yesterday, when I think was it Rio? He said that he, at his age, like at 19, is better than, for example, Scholes, Vieira, Gerrard, Lampard.
Vieira's a good comparison in terms of a player, actually.
Yeah, but in terms of like what Bellingham is doing now at 19, of course, like we need to see what he does in the rest of his career to actually compare with the rest. But at his age, it's ridiculous. Like we're talking Bellingham now. Look at his Champions League nights he's had. He's had a couple Champions League man of the match performances now as well.
Mm-hmm. Scored against City 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. I'm playing for Borussia Dortmund. Let's be honest, Borussia Dortmund are not the best of sides. Kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Like he's a joke kind of thing. But with the Bellingham overrated thing, I'll be honest, I thought it became underrated a couple weeks ago and everyone on Twitter was going at him. Like, you know when there was a clip that came out and everyone was calling Bellingham overrated?
I didn't see that, but interesting. Carry on.
I saw a clip in it. And I'll be honest, at that point I was like, okay, people are doing too much with Bellingham. Like, I think people forget Bellingham's 19. Like, the talent he's producing and the actual performance he's producing at 19, you can't name many midfielders. You can't. Like, of course, like, Musiala is different kind of thing, isn't it? But for Bellingham...
But they're even different types of players anyway.
Yeah, they're different.
They could probably play together in a 2-8 if you wanted to in a dream team. Do you know what I mean?
And I said it with the price thing. Of course, like everyone's gonna say Bellingham was overpriced, but I think was it me and you having this discussion?
Yes.
Where I was like, you pay £100 million for Bellingham. Let's just say he's 100 million. You probably have one of the best midfielders in the world for the next 10 years.
It's an investment, Statman, right?
Exactly.
It's just an investment.
And
when you go buy a land, yeah.
That's a good investment if you put it like that. For the next 10 years, £100 million, £10 million a season for one of the best midfielders in the world potentially.
But it can be another Sancho. Do you think it can be another Sancho?
Ooh. Nah. Bellingham has more physical attributes suited to the Premier League Sancho.
That's what I think. The attributes of the
kid is different minerals. You listen, as Huey said. I was backstage listening to what you guys were saying, and when Huey said about when you listen to Jude Bellingham, you can tell he's a man already. In kids' ring, he talks, he walks the walk, and he talks the talk as well. And he's going to be an amazing signing for Liverpool next season. Amazing.
Haaland's already making calls, man. Haaland's already ringing them up saying, "Man, you need to get over here and join this team."
Why would he join Liverpool, Grizz? Not man.
I don't know personally why he would, but your apologies will all be welcome.
I'll be honest though. I think he goes City.
Yeah,
I think he goes City.
It's not Madrid.
Is that because of Haaland though? Now there,
it's not. It's definitely not. It's definitely not Madrid. It's definitely not Madrid. It's definitely out of City and us. And I've told Huey months ago this and Daps I told them months ago it's out of City and Liverpool.
What's the price range? I really want to ask you, Chris, what's the
100 million,
range?
100 million. It won't be above 100. Forget what Dortmund are saying. Same like Sancho. They were asking for ridiculous amounts of Sancho. You ended up getting him for what, 75, 80?
Yeah. So you think it's going to be 100? Oh, okay,
100 million, yeah.
100 million flat out fee. Big up Daps says at the age of 17, Bellingham was looking more comfortable for England and seasoned midfielders. It's his football IQ. By the way, guys, don't forget Arsenal Liverpool preview tomorrow on this channel. This video after will take you straight into it, so you can smash a like ready for that as well. And like I said, make sure you subscribe to Hugh, Statman, Mo, and Grizz. All their channels are down in the descriptions below. Players are brought forward for sooner now, whereas in the 90s and early 2000s, only a couple of players came through, like Rooney, Fabregas. 100 million is the current value in the market. Bellingham is 19. People forget about that. Modric peaked after 27. Right. This is what I wanted to come to, and this is where it's kind of be the last question where we debate on Bellingham, because for me, he's going to be linked, like Grizz said, to many clubs. But when you look at the business side of things, which I think people don't really think about, and I think us guys are mature enough to understand that side of the game, it's not just, Manchester United go out and spend 100 million on Bellingham and that's problem solved. There's different clubs that can spend that money, but there's different clubs that need other things. Now, Statman, the reason I say this is because Manchester United links, and this will open up to Mo Grizz and Hugh. But Baines, I see us linked to Bellingham this week for 120 million, just say that price. And I'm thinking, no. But people are going to laugh at me and probably say, what do you mean? You don't want Bellingham? No. I was discussing it with Safo the other day, and I was saying Manchester United are not in the position to be spending 120 million on players and then bursting the budget like that when we've got loads more gaps to fill. We're not a team like Liverpool and City right now. I know Liverpool having a bit of a slow start, but we're not like Liverpool and City right now where they need one or two jinx just to keep the team ticking over and keep them competing. Manchester United need 4, 5, 6 players before Ten Hag has his team. We go and spend 120 million on Bellingham. We're not getting the other areas filled. So for me, Manchester United need to pull the plug on this, start being smart, like the Malacia signing for 30 million, for example, and look elsewhere. And that's why I think Manchester United, for me, should be out of the race. And what do you think on that? Because then this is why I want to come to Grizz and Hugh and Mo and see if they think Bellingham is key for their clubs, because they probably need that 1 or 2. Should they just blow the budget on him for 100 million? But what do you think, Baines, on United being linked? Because I'm not for it, man. I'm not, despite him being a great player.
I think you said it, like, for the price and for where we're at as a club at the stage of our rebuild, no. But the thing is, like, if you can't really complain if you get Bellingham, can you? But at the same time, I think to get the best out of Bellingham, you can't play Bruno Fernandes in that side. I personally don't think he's a pivot player. I think you just need to give him the license kind of thing, innit? Because he's that good. Like, he can do literally everything, which is why I'm like, I don't know where he fits in at this current stage of United. I think obviously that City, for example, Liverpool are just much better suited to Bellingham. Or even Real Madrid.
Would you, okay, so Baines, as a Man United fan, and would you, if we say right now, we skip 8 months and we go and get Bellingham for 120 million, right? And then we sign one other player. Don't know what position it would be, but we sign one other player. Would you have a bit of that buzzing feeling about you, or would you have that grimace in your teeth where you're like, we might have effed up here?
I think it's exactly how I felt this summer. We could have spent the money elsewhere.
Interesting.
Or we could have allocated the funds a lot better.
Okay. What do you guys think as neutrals, looking at Man United's perspective of us being linked to Bellingham? Hugh, I don't mind as a rival if you want to have a say.
I don't think it's the right move. I think for a process to happen organically and naturally, you need to take a different approach to what you have done in recent years, where you spend big sums of money on individuals and think they're going to come in and have the impact that can, bring the club back to where you feel you deserve to be and whatnot. It's exactly what Statman said. It's allocate the funds correctly, and there's too many areas in the pitch that United need to touch up on and fix up on for them to be spending 120 million. I mean, we know they have the resources; they're capable of doing so. The Glazers have no problem spending that kind of money if they feel it's the right thing. But are they doing it for the right reasons? More often than not in recent years, no. The reason behind a lot of their big signings recently was essentially for commercial and pure reasons and to try to get the fans back on side. Would buying Bellingham for 120 million be another paper of the crack situation? For me, probably, because you could allocate those funds into 3 or 4, like Malacia, 30 million players who, if you scout correctly, you could get a serious bargain. I mean, we've just done it with a Candy. There's plenty of them out there. If you scout correctly, you can spend your money more efficiently. But does that mean United won't try? I think they'll throw their ring in that. They'll throw their name in the hat. They'll try to get Bellingham because they feel they have to maintain that big club status and be seen to be trying to get the big players or the hottest players in the market. I don't think he'd be the right fit, and I don't think he'd want to go there either. I think there'd be too much pressure on Bellingham to come in as a 19, 20-year-old to come in and be an anchor in Man United and bring them back to the best. I think he'd be more suited to come into Liverpool or City, where there's a ready-made system for him to come in and do his thing and be a part of a better operation, essentially.
Okay, no, perfect. Guys, we're going to do a few more minutes. I'm going to hand it over to Mo, and then I'm going to let Hugh and Grizz sort of have their final say on Jude Bellingham. But Mo, I just want to open it out to you in terms of when you look at the business side of it, like Manchester United just said there, it would be ridiculous for us to go out and spend that money on him, even if we offered more than City and Liverpool, because we need so much more. Do you believe that for City and Liverpool, who it looks like Grizz said are going to be battling it out, this should be the one they just say, do you know what? Forget the budget and we just focus everything on them. So do you think it's basically the right approach to throw everything at getting Jude Bellingham? And this is for both clubs. Or do you think one club could do maybe without a bit more than the other and then they focus on other targets?
I think City should do this. I don't think Bellingham is the answer for Liverpool at the moment. Okay. They need to revive the midfield, and to get a 19 years old and put everything on his shoulder, I think it's a risk. They will need somebody with more experience next to him. Is it going to be Fabinho? Is it going to be still Henderson? Because they need two midfielders. So for me, to throw everything at Bellingham and say, you're coming in to revive our midfield, I think it's going to be a lot on the kid's shoulder. But I think at Man City, if he goes, he's going to be integrated slowly into the side, because Bernardo leaves, Gundogan leaves. There is still Rodri is there. Calvin Phillips is going to come into the picture, hopefully, when he comes from injuries. Still Kevin De Bruyne. Jack Grealish can play in the midfield. Foden as well. So it's going to be easier for me, City, if they get Bellingham, it's the right investment. For Liverpool, it's a risk. For me, for Liverpool to throw everything at that kid, it's going to be a risk for them. Do we go all out to get Bellingham and assume that Bellingham is going to fix all our problems? I don't think so. I think they'll need two midfield as well. City, it's as Hugh said, it's an established system. It's easier to come into City team for a player like Bellingham. Mm-hmm. But I don't know why Liverpool fans are so confident that he's going to go to their club. If I was Jude Bellingham, I would choose between Real Madrid and City. I wouldn't choose Liverpool at the moment. Maybe I'll choose Liverpool last year.
The fans are absolutely not confident. No, majority of Liverpool fans are absolutely sure that he's not coming to Liverpool.
It's good to know that they know that there's a big competition.
If you done a poll, 80-90% of Liverpool fans don't think he's coming to Liverpool. High as that. They're pretty sure. So if anyone tells you that fans think no, exactly. And you can understand why they would think that. And you can understand why other clubs fans would think that. But now majority of Liverpool fans think he's not coming. It's all rubbish. It's all chat.
Why would
you know what it is? You know what it is with Liverpool?
Oh, go on. Go on.
I just want to make a really quick point on the Liverpool thing. I wouldn't be totally surprised if Bellingham wants to play under Klopp and possibly be part of that refresh for Liverpool. I wouldn't be surprised at all. But the thing we're not taking into account is, are Liverpool Football Club and the way FSG operate likely to go out and spend that kind of money again? Having spent 85-90 million on Darwin Núñez in the summer just gone, are they likely to go out and spend what would, to get Bellingham, it would require 90 to 110 million is what I'd be assuming. I don't think Liverpool are, and I think we are. I think we will identify the fact that we need a young and up-and-coming midfielder who can fill the boots of Gundo and Bernardo. And I also believe that City at the moment are just one of those clubs, very few in the world, possibly the only right now, that when we come calling, you just don't say no. The whole infrastructure of the club right now is too perfect to say no to. He's got his old best mate in Haaland there. We'll give him the wages that he deserves. There's a ready-made system, as I've already highlighted there, from to slot into. There's possibly too much going against him in terms of going to Liverpool, the money that it would cost Liverpool, the pressure on his shoulders that would arise to come in and revive their midfield. There's been so much talk over this diminishing Liverpool midfield. Bring in Bellingham, they're going, right, he's the answer. Is he the answer? Is it fair to put that on a 20-year-old boy? Probably not. I just think that the pull of City right now is possibly too strong. And we will spend the money. I think if Dortmund said we want 90 million for Jude Bellingham, I think the lads on our board, Cheeky, Omar, Fran, Soriano, they will say it's worth the investment. Like we said, if you get him, you can get him for 10 years, and he's part of the refresh under Pep Guardiola.
There's no doubt.
Even topping on that, Hugh Grizz, especially what Mo said, you need 2 midfielders.
There's
and my
no-
question for you, do you think you even get 2 if you get Bellingham?
There's no doubt in what Mo said. I totally agree with, in terms of, if we're pinning our hopes only on Jude Bellingham, we're crazy. And if Jude Bellingham thinks he's the only savior for Liverpool, it's crazy. We won't be buying only one midfielder. We will buy minimum 2 midfielders, one possibly in January. And I totally agree with Huey as well. I'm not saying, I'm being honest here. I'm totally agree. If the decision or the transfer is based on money and wages, we cannot compete. We cannot. You know what I mean? We can't compete with the likes of Madrid and City. But that's where, just like the Virgil van Dijk, just like the Naby Keita, obviously not successful, just like the Thiago, when all these other clubs, including Man City for Virgil van Dijk, including Man United for Thiago, Barcelona wanted him back for Thiago, Naby Keita wanted Thiago, Barcelona wanted Naby Keita. All of these players, the only reason Liverpool got them, the only reason is not because we had the most wages on stock or the highest fee, is because they wanted Liverpool. Liverpool will be banking on Jude Bellingham only wanting Liverpool. We cannot compete with Man City.
That's the only way I
right.
think you go to him.
It's not the. It's the only way. I also believe that Jude Bellingham has a very good understanding with Dortmund. One of the major reasons why he didn't leave them this summer, when we 100% went in for him. And when I said we went in for him, everyone laughed. But when all the journalists said it 6 months later, that Liverpool have made an attempt to go for Jude Bellingham this season, people said, oh, okay, maybe Grizz was right. We 100% made an effort, but Dortmund said, no chance this summer. Next summer, they've got a very, very good understanding, a very good gentleman's agreement for Jude to go. So people that are saying he might stay at Dortmund, 5%, if that even. He's 100% leaving. I believe his family and him don't want to go to La Liga. I believe it's strictly down to Man City and Liverpool. And I believe he's pretty much told certain people in close circles that it's Liverpool.
Devil's advocate here, before we move on, just devil's advocate.
Yeah, last question, Mo, and we'll wrap up.
One thing, maybe Jude Bellingham would want to go to Liverpool. If he goes to Liverpool, he's guaranteed a starting position. You know that you can go to City and you're actually not guaranteed playing time. It's not guaranteed. This is one of the things might agree with Grizz about. He told his friends, I want to go to Liverpool because I'm guaranteed to play most of the games. But
he's going to become the main man in midfield.
Exactly. But for City, he might not even play the first season 20 games or something, especially if Gundogan, if someone else, if Grealish comes in the midfield. We don't know if Bernardo leaves. We know that De Bruyne and Roger are going to start every game if they're fit. So for me, maybe that would be the reason why he would choose a team like Liverpool, especially if Liverpool come back and they like start competing again, they start being themselves.
It's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens between now and the end of the season. I think it is kind of a shoe-in. It's going to be between Liverpool and City for the shootout. And I do think if City get him, then already, as you can see, the gap's kind of growing with Erling Haaland coming in and making a difference. Bellingham can make a big difference there. Liverpool, for me, definitely need a midfielder, if not 2 or 3, like Grizz said. And it's going to be an interesting sort of next 8 to 10 months when we come back and obviously carry on doing content. But guys, we're going to wrap it up there. That has been a brilliant show. I can't lie. The Trent, the right back debate, the talking about Bellingham as well, where he could go with ceiling, and even discussing his flaws as well. It's been a great, great show, guys. Make sure, most importantly, you guys get your likes. If there's any questions I missed, I'm so sorry, but obviously, yeah, man, there were so many comments, I couldn't get everything in, and obviously we're a bit time constrained. Brilliant live time, great panel, great conversation. Thank you so much, Maria. I hope you guys really enjoyed it. I love doing debates like this. Guys, make sure you do subscribe to Mo's channel, Inter Worldwide. A great watch along the other day as they beat Barcelona. Also, his channel is down in the description as well. Man City content, but also on the Big Six. Lovely fella as well. So, guys, make sure you subscribe. Statman as well does my Man United content with me. I'm also on his channel as well, on the way to 6K. So make sure you guys support Statman. And Grizz as well, edging closer to that 20K. Can we get him there before the end of the new year? I think we can.
Much appreciated.
Yeah, man. So it's got to be done, guys. All their channels are down below. And guys, I don't know if any of you lot are live tonight or tomorrow. Is there anything you want to plug at all before?
I'll be live at 10:30 tonight talking about the alleged Erling Haaland release clause. Anybody wants to come in at 10:30 to my channel, I'll be talking all things Haaland's contract. I'm talking a little bit about the Copenhagen game yesterday because that also was a good performance. So yeah, that'll be me at 10:30.
Love that. And Grizz, yourself?
Just the Young Bucks on tonight. Give them a little support and a like. And tomorrow, the big preview for Arsenal Liverpool, the major big game in the Premier League. And I've got some big hitters on the show tomorrow. Can't reveal who right now. But
what time's that tomorrow?
5 p.m. tomorrow, people. 5 p.m.
Wicked. 5 p.m. tomorrow. We've also got the Arsenal Liverpool preview on here at Never a Foul as well. That is going to be a great game this weekend, guys. Make sure you go and subscribe to Hugh, Statman, Grizz, and Mo. Statman, you got anything coming out?
Live after the United game with Said at 8:30. That's pretty much it.
Lovely. Celebrating Ronaldo's goal, yeah?
Of course, man. It's coming.
It ain't easy.
Sorry, man. Hat-trick today.
Sharpening my knives right now. It ain't easy.
I know Baze is ready to watch this game right now. With Ronaldo top on. Go on, look at you, man. I love that, man. Hopefully United win. And guys, like I said, keep supporting the panel. Make sure you like this video, subscribe, and all you guys' comments as well. Great. I really appreciate it. Catch you on the other side.